There I am. There I am. Left it up. Left it up. Good evening, folks. Welcome to Alien Addict on a fine, luxurious evening. It's going to be luxurious. It's going to be wild. We have UFO Shane right down there, just waiting to come up with his beer. I'm joining him tonight with a beer because, you know, I thought I was going to stop drinking for the week, but then we've got UFO Shane. I work tomorrow as well, so I'll have a couple. Why not? Without further ado, though, I'll bring my sexy co-host up, David Lee. How the devil are we feeling after last night's marathon with Mark Sargent?
Awesome. Feel pretty awesome.
My internet is terrible, so I may have to drop out. Full warning.
Dave's internet has been dropping out for the past half an hour, but we'll see what happens. But without further ado, UFO influencer, UFO experiencer, paranormal experiencer, you name it.
Best beard in the game as well, probably.
Best beard in the game. Probably better than Keem's, actually.
100%.
Shane.
I was staring off in the distance trying to look cool, you know? Like,
how long have you been growing that thing for?
About 6 months. It grows wildly.
Wow.
Yeah.
6 months growth?
Yep. 6 months.
What,
I've had it trimmed twice as well.
Right. Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. It's very luscious. I buy expensive shampoos, you know? Try to keep it up. But yeah, thank you for the intro. Yeah, that's a good one. I've never heard it put that way. UFO experiencer for sure. Paranormal experiencer for dang sure. You know, the UFO experience I had was wild. It actually stopped traffic, and I reported it to MUFON. But the paranormal experience I had was, it made no sense, and I'm still looking for answers, as most of us are.
Well, let's start with the UFO one first. Then, if you say it stopped traffic, was it like a mass sighting?
So my mom died in 2020 to Wuhan. She died a month before they called it COVID. I'm not a COVID conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying these are the facts. And
sorry to be there about it, mate.
Yeah, I miss her every day. And I lost like $1.2 million. I lost everything. I lost everything. And I lived on the streets for 2 years. And there was a hotel I stayed at called the Hilltop Inn. And I would go down to it's on JFK Boulevard in North Little Rock, Arkansas. And I would go down to this gas station called Murphy's gas station. And I would buy food and stuff. And I'm walking back across, I'm just walking back. And I just turn and look up, and there's just a floating egg in the sky, like about as tall as that tree, I guess, like right there, you know? And I'm looking at it, and I'm going, what the hell? And I've read Richard Dolan. I know what Lonnie Zamora is, right? You guys all know Lonnie Zamora.
Yep.
Like, you guys all know the Tic Tac, like an egg shaped craft, you know? And I'm staring at it, and I'm literally, this is as true as I can be with you guys. I'm looking at it. I take my glasses off. I'm not looking. I take my glasses off like this. I'm like, okay. I'm still looking up. I'm rubbing my glasses on my shirt. And then I just go like this. I just point like at it. And there's a red light right there. And the light turned green. And no one moved. And they all saw it. And then it was like an egg. I guess like an egg. But it was pearlescent, iridescent. It looked like it had a sheen to it, like oil on the street, you know? And then it just didn't exist anymore. But it sat there for like 3.5 minutes. Yeah. I didn't see it zip off. I didn't see it take like a hard right turn. It just ain't gone.
Well, so you actually saw it like dematerialize?
Yeah, dude, I never took my eyes off of it, bro. I was just looking up like I am right now, like, what the hell is this? And it makes no sense to this day.
You said this stopped. So did this other people saw this as well, and this stopped traffic?
Yeah, so I pointed at it, right? Like I'm walking on the sidewalk up a bridge. You can look it up, the JFK Bridge in North Rock, Arkansas. There's the North River Library is like about a quarter mile from it. There's a Murphy gas station, a Taco Bueno. There's a hotel across the street from Taco Bueno. Like I can tell you all of them, but there's a red light on the bridge, and it turns green, and no one starts driving because I pointed at it, and everyone looked at me, and they looked where I was pointing. And they were just like, what? This is what I imagined. Because no one like rolled down their window and go, oh, it's a UFO or nothing like that happened. But I was just like, what the hell? And then everyone there just was staring at it and the light turned green and no one drove off. Nobody. No one. I mean, they almost sat there till it turned red again. So, yeah. It was wild.
So, but you were already into this before you saw that?
Yeah, because I had a even crazier experience like 2 years or like a year and a half before that.
When did you first get into the whole subject of UFOs? When did that happen?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm adopted by World War II veterans and Great Depression survivors. And they raised me Southern Baptist, but I'm Jewish. As you can tell from the beard, right? Like, you know, my heritage obviously isn't white people. But they raised me knowing that Jesus is the truth, the light, and the way, and that's great. But I had questions and stuff, and I 32 years, I never saw anything. I never heard a voice from God, as they told me in church or taught me in school about certain things, and none of it, like I was taught like what the real world was. And then I never saw anything. I had a couple weird experiences, like ghost hunting with friends and just goofing off as you do growing up. But it wasn't, I didn't get into UFOs really until my mom died. And then that's where the entire other thing goes. Like that's where I came into this, was when my mom died. It was the day I watched them use a winch and crank my mother 6 feet underground, was the day that I saw something that changed my life forever. Nothing that I was ever taught about, nothing anyone ever warned me for, happened to me that day. And that's when I got into it. And then about a year and a half later-ish is when I saw the UFO. But the initial thing was very much paranormal. But I would suppose really that even seeing a UFO would be paranormal, right? Because the paranormal just means outside the normal. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. That's my answer.
So what was it you saw?
The main thing that I saw? Okay. Are you ready for it?
Maybe not, but I'm here.
Yeah, I know I wasn't. Okay. So, my mother passed away, and I listened to Johnny Cash. I held her hand as she died. She loved Johnny Cash. And I loved her dearly, but I wasn't the best son. I was raised with a lot of money, and I had, Camaros and Dodge Chargers and 392s and Hellcats, and ran businesses. But when she got sick, I took care of her. I left all that behind to take care of her because that's what a good son does. And they put a ventilator on her, and she couldn't breathe, and she's holding my hand saying, "It's going to be okay, son. It's going to be okay." And it wasn't okay. She died. And We buried her on February the 8th. No, I'm sorry. She died on February the 8th. She was buried on the 22nd. And my brother, we go to the burial. We bury her in the plot. You know, that's how it works. And we're driving back, and my best friend, we're not friends anymore because he went off on drugs and stuff, and I don't want to be a part of that. I don't do drugs and stuff. So, but you know, my best friend, you know, regardless of what his choices are. And he's walking down the road. And I told my brother Robert, my adopted brother, because I'm adopted, who's like 58 years old. You know, I'm 36. I'm 32 at the time. And I'm like, hey, you know, pull over. What the hell is Alex doing? I'm like, hey, Alex, what are you doing? He's like, man, there's red balls of light flying around your living room. And I'm like, get the hell out of here, dude. Like, you know, he loved my mom, so I just figured he was stressed out. I did everything to make sense of it in a way that didn't justify what he was saying, I guess. Like a real dickhead move on my part, to be honest. And he lived like a mile and a half away, so for him to get scared and to walk home is not unfeasible. And so I'm like, pick him up, we'll take him back home. We take him back home. I have 70, 80 people in my house that day. We find out like what my mom was worth, all kinds of things. Everyone leaves. Everyone leaves the house, right? And there's no one there because I paid for the house, so it was my house, so I was still there. And we had this game room we built on the back of it, and I had a laptop and I had Discord. I'm talking, and people were telling me to buy into this MMO called The Chronicles of Illyria, which turned out to be a massive scam. And I'm like, I don't want to buy into it. You know, it's a scam, yada, yada, yada. And then I just hear this noise. And I have my chocolate lab, Coco, which I know, generic name, but she was the best dog ever. She's sitting right next to me. And I just hear this key. Like I hear a... I'm like, what the... You know, like I'm literally, it's like 2:30 in the morning. And I'm not high, I'm not drunk, I'm just normal. You know, it's the day when I buried my mom, so I'm just, you know, I'm dealing with my own emotions. And I look over and this key just starts turning. And it unlocks a 7-foot tall curio cabinet. A curio cabinet is it's a big cabinet with 4 glass walls, and it has like, you know, multiple shelves. And it just unlocks, man. And that wasn't even the right key for the lock because I broke that key because they're made of brass. And my mom had another curio cabinet in her room, and I switched the keys out because I didn't want my mom to get on to me. You know, she had just passed away. I didn't want her to be upset that I broke the key. And I watched this key that you had to lift it up, turn it hard to the right, and open this lock. Just gently unlock this lock, man. And then the door just goes, it opens, and it's a big, heavy glass door. And when it opens, the glass goes kung 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 kung. I'll never forget the noise. It was like the door opens, like kung 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 kung. I'm like, I look at my dog, Coco, and I'm like, what the hell? And I look over here, and I'm like, what the hell? And then the door, like the glass is shaking. And then I'm a cancer survivor, so on the top shelf I had my old cancer medications. And then below that I had Dragon Ball Z figures. And I had a toy RC helicopter my dad gave me when I was 13, but it never flew. The wires were cut. Below that, I had a big plushie of the Kyuubi from Naruto, big anime fan. And then below that, I had PlayStation 3 games and 4 games. And on that second to top shelf, this toy RC helicopter just goes and just slowly levitates. Above, I had lead figurines of Dragon Ball Z. So I had Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, Vegeta, and Broly, and Goku. And Broly's a big dude. If you like Dragon Ball Z, you know how big Broly is. And it just levitates right up. I'm staring right at this, right? I'm in Discord. I'm literally hitting control like kunk. I don't know what's going on right now, you know? and it levitates like 10 feet across the room. It sits down gently in front of the couch, like 10 feet. It flies, it levitates or flies, whatever you want to call it, all the way across this game room and sits down. And I'm like, what the hell? And then I look at Coco and I look up, and then 6 red balls of gelatinous. It's hard to describe because like I've never seen anything else like it, but gelatinous jelly like it looked like if you had like plastic spheres and you went to the market and you bought like red Jello and you dumped it into those plastic spheres and they were moving, but they were also on fire.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looked like. And I'm staring right at 6 of them, and they're eye level, and they just spin in a circle really quickly, and then just poop, and they're gone.
I can't believe you're saying this, Shane, because I don't. Lee, have I ever told you the story when I was ill when I was a child, and I woke up with all them red, the red orbs in the room?
No.
So I mean, I don't want to. It's just this resonates. So these red dots everywhere. I remember once waking up as a kid from being ill. I had a flu or something, and I remember seeing all these little red dots all over the room, just flying around. It's something that just rang with me. But you talking about the drone thing taking off, like Lee, that must resonate with you with the train set.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to explain, isn't it? I mean, obviously, my thing was a train set that was going on its own. Like
it's impossible to explain, right?
Yeah.
Lee?
It's like but I mean, God, like to have something like you saw like levitate like that. When you say like the balls were gelatinous, does that mean that did they have a solid shape to them, and was it gelatinous inside them, or did the shape that was on fire morph around?
Thanks, UFO intros.
That's actually that's the best way it's ever been put. It looked like you had a sphere, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just going to describe to you as, and I'm sorry, I'm explaining something that doesn't make sense, so you have to forgive me.
Yeah.
But it looked like a sphere, like a round circle, right? And then in the middle of that circle was Jello that was on fire, and it was going like this. In the sphere, it wasn't like it was outside of it. It's like it was contained in the sphere, and it was going like this, but it was also on fire.
Oh, so these were quite big.
Oh, dude, they were this big. They were huge. They were as big as my face. They were huge.
The ones I saw was like, you're talking like that.
No, man. Around. That's still crazy, but
wow.
Like I literally, dude, I'm telling you right now, man, I stared. This is 3 feet from my face, and I stared right at it. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I could say a bunch of curse words, but I was literally like, what the hell? And I looked at my dog, Coco, and her eyes are huge. And I knew my dog, my dog was my protector, and she was the best damn dog ever. But, and she's looking at it the same way I am. I'm like, what the hell? And I had always told myself, because I used to read about Greek gods and aliens and stuff, and I was like, if it ever happens to me, I'm going to look right at it. And I had stilled myself, and so when it happened to me, I looked right at it. And this was the weird thing for me is, yes, there were giant red balls of light. Yes, a helicopter levitated across the room. But for me, it's not so much like that it happened to me. It's when it happened to me. I had just buried my mom like 8 hours prior to this in the same house that I had lived in for 32 years, off and on. And I never saw nothing. There were a couple weird things that happened. My brother got murdered when I was younger. And there was a whole thing with his bedroom my mom told me about, but I never saw it, so I can't report on that as being fact because it didn't happen to me. Do I trust my mom? Yes, but I can't report on that like a fact. But I'm looking right at this shit. I'm staring right at something that makes no sense. And I don't know. I came on Twitter to look for similar experiences. I haven't met anyone that's had the same experience, but I think that's like what the paranormal does. It's different for everybody, I guess. But no, they were big balls of light. And I watched the cabinet door unlock itself with the wrong key, and I watched the toy helicopter levitate 10 feet across the room. And I used, and people in the chat who know me know that I've showed pictures of the cabinet. I do have those. I used to have pictures of that helicopter floating midair. I used to have pictures of this helicopter levitating midair, dude.
So you photographed it?
Oh yeah, I had my phone up. I was like, click, 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 click. I mean, I'm taking pictures. But when the red balls of light happened, I just was like, what? Like there was no that. But when the helicopter was levitating, I had pictures, man. But I don't have them anymore, and that's unfortunate. And it's just, that's just how it works. So, after my mom died and I lost all my money and everything, I got addicted to drugs. And you lose phones, you sell them to eco ATMs for money to survive. Yeah, so they weren't backed up on Google, and it's a massive regret. But you can't. Unfortunately, like it's just what happens. It's just what happens. I wish so bad I still had them. I'd probably be like more famous than Jeremy Corbell if I did, but that doesn't even matter, right? So,
how did you? I want to say save yourself, but how did you become like not homeless anymore and just fix everything?
Yeah, so I was actually at the North Aurora Library. I had just watched a dude that I was letting stay with me in the hotel room. I was gambling a lot on stake.com, and I would give away money all the time. I gave away 30 grand on Rollbit in a month because I was always really good at gambling. And but I was addicted to drugs, methamphetamine. And I wasn't at the time of the experience, but when I lost everything, I got addicted to hard drugs. I was depressed. I just wanted to die. And I lived on the streets for 2 years, and I've had my nose broken. I've had to fight people. And then I would go to the library because it had air conditioning and I could read like Jacques Vallée or Richard Dolan books, things like that. And I watched the dude shoot up drugs into his veins. And I was like, man, like this is not what I want to keep doing. And I messaged my roommate at my house now. I was like, I went to high school with him. He used to come to my house and play Halo 2. And, like we were, we have the same birthday. And I just said, hey, man, how you doing? He was like, pretty good, struggling. And I was like, yeah, well, I'm struggling pretty good, too. And he was like, oh, I'm going to come get you. I'm going to come get you. And I'm going to get you off this shit. And I've been drug-free for over a year and a half now. And he just randomly came and picked me up from the streets. And I have a job, and I have a car that's broke down, but it was working. Yeah, that's how it happened. But I was saved, honestly, by my roommate. Otherwise, I'd probably still be doing the same thing. So that's just, I just try to be real about everything, my drug use and everything. So I don't like to sugarcoat it. It is what happened. So.
It's life.
So, have your family do you come from like a family of experiences?
So I'm adopted. So, like I'm adopted by people who like helped rebuild Iran in the 70s, right? Like my dad owned a construction company, and they moved to Iran for 8 years and helped rebuild the infrastructure. And then, the whole thing went to shit. But I I have gotten in contact with my birth mother since then, and she's told me like weird things that have happened or whatever, but I've never heard anything like I've said to them. So I would say no. And then I tell them, I
family?
do what?
What about your adopted family? What are their experiences?
They think it's no, not at all. Like, they're so afraid of anything outside the normal that it's crazy. Like after that happened to me, I told everyone, dude. I was like people come over to the house, and I'm like, hey, like full stop. This is what's going on. I don't know what happened to me or what's going on. And they're like, oh, you're just stressed out. You saw things. And I'm like, I didn't know. Like this happened. And my more religious adopted family would come over, and they wouldn't walk through the garage door. They'd come through the garage, but they wouldn't walk through the door. They'd be like, I'm getting a weird vibe. I'm like, well, I live here. So no, like and I've talked to my like Baptist family about this, and they just tell me it's demons. It was demons playing on my mind, and I'm like, okay, I guess, I guess,
Are you familiar with Ray Hernandez?
Yeah.
And he has a very interesting saying about that. As people who've seen lights in the sky and things, those types of experience tend to live paranormal lives. Like when you break them down over time and ask them, how many times will I've seen a couple lights in the sky? You ever had paranormal phenomenon happen? They're like, oh yeah, and they can just start rattling things off. You find that these two things are linked, and that brings me to the question I ask everybody: is what do you think the phenomenon is?
Yeah, dude. I talk to people in spaces all the time. That's how I got my start, right? Here's what I think, and this is probably not going to be popular. I don't think that Lou Elizondo or David Grush or these guys are really telling you facts because they can't know the facts. I think that regardless of the UFO heroes that we have, that doesn't really matter. It's great that we have them. But I've seen it, right? So I have to base it off of that. And I think that weird things happen to people, period. And those things have no explanation that we have a basis to ground ourselves on. I think that if you're out in the woods and you see a Bigfoot, then you saw a Bigfoot, right? But if you tell someone that and they go look for the Bigfoot, they're not going to see it because it happened to them. The paranormal seems to be very personally based, and it seems to be very paranormal and very weird. I've talked to abductees. I've talked to Travis Walton. I've talked to Richard Dolan. I've talked to Mike Barra. I've talked to David Childress. I've talked to James Fox. I've talked to everybody, and they don't have any more answers. So what I think I know is that something. Barry Fitzgerald and Steve Mira are very good friends of mine. They run UAM TV, and they're big dudes in this topic, but they think that it's something just happening. There's just something, in my opinion, Dave, there's something that's just happening, and we have it wrong. We call it aliens. We call it interterrestrials or outer terrestrials or inner Earth or Agartha, whatever. But I don't think it matters too much what it specifically is. I think that's where we have the problem, is that we try to focus too much on is it aliens, right? Is it ghosts? Is it demons? Is it spirits? Is it jinn? That doesn't matter so much to me other than the fact that it's happening and it's real. So instead of classifying it, we should really more come together and understand that it's happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we need to come to consensus that it is, and it's a thing that's happening, and only then can we move forward to try and work out what it is. It sounds like you come at this very much the same sort of way that we look at this sort of thing now. Is that we I think we live in a very paranormal world that we've done our very best to normalize over in recent history. You know, we've done our very best to normalize these things and to brush under the carpet. You know, it's the noise in the attic, isn't it? You know, like you know you're in a house on your own. You hear a noise in the attic, and you go, it's probably just wind.
Oh, that's floorboards. You know, that's a raccoon in the walls. You know.
But we've done that with the entire planet. You know, we've just we know there's noises in the attic, but we're just ignoring them.
If I had one thing to say to people, it would be that I'm no one. Honestly, we're all no one, right? We're all just people looking for answers, right? We're not anybody special, right? But what I can tell you is that while I may be no one, I'm still a human, just like you, and I've still had my experiences. And if you can trust one thing that I have to tell you is that something is weird. Something is outside of the normalcy that you have been raised on, because you're born and you're taught, and as I was, and then something happened to me that made no sense. And you have to be very careful, because when it happens to you, you're looking everywhere for answers, man. You're starting to believe in Linda Moulton Howe. You're like, the tarantuloids are coming, you know, like, but that's not really where it needs to go. You just need to understand that, like, something is definitely happening. Something is definitely occurring. I don't have proof, as no one does in this entire topic. And I'm a skeptic. I'm a massive, massive skeptic. Like, I'm friends with Nick West. But the thing is that regardless of what other people tell me, I have to remember that something outrageous and unreal happened to me. And if it happened to me, right? If it happened to you, Alien Addict, and it happened to you, Dave, or you, Lee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's happened to other people that have been involved in programs that have more money and more abilities to research these things than I could ever understand. And they know what's happening. And they've researched it, and they're not going to tell you shit. They're not going to tell you anything, because it would break down the entire paradigm of what's going on. It's scary. I don't know. Honestly, when it comes to this topic, I don't know where to go, like left or right or up or down or 5D or 4D. I just have to, I try to hold on to the fact that it is happening and just listen to people tell me their experiences. I try to tell mine.
I'll tell you something, Shane, for somebody who's 12 beers in, you speak a lot of sense.
I do my best. I'm a big guy.
Because I wish more people would like address it like that, instead of trying to know exactly what it is.
Well, that's the problem, is people are trying to give facts for something that, like, we have very little facts about. And I think it's okay to say that. You know, it's okay to say that there's somebody living next door, but you don't know what's in their house. And that's exactly what we've got. We know there's somebody next door, but we just don't know what they are. And we're doing our very best. I keep saying, like, with the UFO thing, is I'm still not 100% convinced in, like, nuts and bolts craft. I know we keep hearing about crash retrievals and stuff like that, but I mean, the same people that are telling us about crash retrievals are the people that realistically we probably shouldn't trust, because we don't trust the governments about anything else. So why do we start trusting them when they start trying to tell us or leaking stuff about UFOs?
Yeah, that's my thing too. Is like, I worked for the government for 30 years, and now retired, and now I'm gonna give you the truth. Like, dude, but the part you're leaving out is that you worked for the government for 30 years. So I can't trust you. Mm-hmm. The same way that someone will lie to you about all kinds of things, and you can't trust them. And you know what my biggest problem with the UFO heroes is like, I mean, come on, like, Alien Addict, you get stuff wrong, right? Like, you get stuff wrong?
No.
Right? I get stuff wrong. Well, you know, yeah, but you admit when you're wrong, though. You'll host a show and be like, I was wrong. But these other guys, they don't do that. They don't ever say they were wrong. They just move on to the next thing.
Or they dig down. They dig in.
They just grind in. And I'm just sitting here, like, as a person, a regular bloke, who's seen things, I'm like, well, what the hell? Like it's okay to be wrong. It's especially when you're looking to things that make no sense. Because my opinion is that someone's been in their backyard and they stare at their tree line, and then a dog man's come out, and they tell everyone about it, and no one believes them, but they have no history of lying, nothing, and they tell you the truth, and then someone will come up and tell you, oh, that dog man was a skinwalker for sure because I've done all this research and I've done all these things, and then you look into them and they're like, oh well, but you've been wrong about 5 other things, and now you're moving on to this. And the same thing for me is like people tell me that it was my mom that showed me that. And then I've had people tell me that my mom was reborn as a princess in Belize. It's gotten wild. I'm sitting here like, no one knows what's really going on. I think if they do, they're not in our discussion, right? Like whoever it is, there may be some group looking back and just laughing at us because they know what's going on, but they're not in our discussion. I think we argue about the CIA, we argue about Doppler or the ICIG. These people have no more clue or no less clue than you or I do. And it gets, and people will tell you for a fact that there's nuts and bolts crack. There's element 115. There's all these things. Well, you know what? It's been 80 years. Where is it? Because I know something. My baseline is that something exists. Where is it? George Knapp said that he knows where element 115 is buried. Well, go dig it up. Ross Coulthard has told me that he knows where a giant UFO is buried. Well, go show me.
Yeah,
that's disclosure.
Why he won't say where that is beyond me.
Yeah.
Well, because he's lying is why he won't tell you where it is. So
he could make something. He could just make shit up. Do you know what I mean? You just because he said it's in another country anyway. You just make somewhere up, make it interesting at least.
Say it's under the Vatican.
Yeah, I can't remember who the guy was, but there was someone pointed something out the other day. It was on the Danny Jones podcast. I think it was the last episode he did. I forgot what the guy's name is. I think he's a German sounding. Yeah, and they were talking.
I've talked to Danny a few times.
Yeah, but Danny was asking this guy about like evidence when it comes to like paranormal stuff and things like that, and the guy quite rightly pointed out how we look for evidence in different ways. Like so, whenever this stuff comes up, people always say, "Well, we need scientific evidence. We need scientific evidence." Yet, if you look at things legally, we will literally take like somebody's life away from them for first-hand accounts. But in this subject, so we you guys are in the States. In certain states in America, if you have strong enough witness testimony, you'll take a man's life with witness testimony.
That's true.
But witness testimony when it comes to the paranormal just isn't good enough.
Yeah, and it sucks because I've talked to Fringe. Fringe thinks she does a space where she talks about her experiences, and I love Fringe. I don't believe, I'm a skeptic, man. As a true believer, I'm a skeptic. But that should tell you something right there, right? But I believe her. Is her stuff from childhood trauma? Is it this or that? I don't know. But I know that when she's speaking to me, she's speaking to me earnestly. Honestly, this whole topic with witness testimony, it's a rough path to go on, because while we have court cases here that will judge people based on that, we're talking about something beyond that. We're talking about the unknown, and you don't know what you don't know. You I know it's like a blanket bullshit statement, but you really don't know what you don't know. And when it comes to this stuff, we all have flashlights in the darkness, and we're just looking around trying to figure it out. And then I look for people like Fringe, who has been honest with me about her experiences, And I'm like, okay,
I've been
I
speaking
believe
to
her.
her on. I've been speaking to her on DMs. We're hoping to get her on the podcast soon.
You should. You should, because she
She's
says the
really
most
interesting.
outlandish stuff. She says the most outlandish stuff, but I don't disbelieve her. And I had this argument with someone earlier this morning.
I said that to Ollie the other day. I was telling Ollie about her, and I said to Ollie, her story is insane, but I don't think she's lying.
Nope, she's not. That's what's like. Look at that though, right? Like, look at that. You have someone telling you insane things. Sorry, insane, wild things, but you don't disbelieve them. What is it? And what is that? That's you looking for. That's you just stumbling around in the dark, man. Like, I don't want to die knowing nothing. I talked to James Fox like about a month ago, and he said, I'm gonna die. And you can look it up on my Twitter, where he hopefully he didn't delete it, but if he did, I have a screenshot where he literally said, I'm gonna die without knowing more than I ever knew. And that's from James Fox, man. Like, a dude we hold up, right? Like, I love his documentaries, You're looking around through the dark. We've had 80 years of the same nonsense. What I'm looking for is a handhold, right? It's like I said this a lot. I'm a broken record a lot of times, but it's like we're all climbing a cliff, right? And you get to almost the peak, and there's just nothing to grab onto. There's nothing to hold on to. What I think is up to us, what has fallen, unfortunately, onto us, is to find that next handhold to grab onto. And I don't think it has to do with what something specifically is. I think that handhold we can hold on to is that something is happening. I know that's vague or not clear, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. What you can look at is honest people like Fringe and like Stoned Ape, or other people who have had these experiences and downloads and just weird stuff, because weird stuff in life happens to people. That in itself is special. That in itself is unique. And that's the part we've looked over. We've looked into the specifics of what people want to say it is too much. Too much. We need to just look at the fact that something outside the normal is occurring. And then when we verify that, understand that together, then we can give it a name. Then we can figure it out. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Absolutely. We encourage any experiences to get in touch with us.
I think there's a way as well for people to like open themselves up to these things more as well. I always think about when you lose things. Like we've all done it. We've all like been searching the house for car keys or our wallet or something like that, and we've walked around the house. We've searched for like an hour, and then you walk back into the room, and your wallet is slap bang in the middle of a completely empty coffee table. We've all done that, and that the amount of times I've done that. I think, no, right? You want to normalize in your head, and you go, I clearly didn't see it. You go, no, right? I'm looking for this single thing, and it's on a table which is fucking waist height, and it's in the middle of the table. Like you can't miss stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I think that stuff must happen to people all the time, and like I'm sure we misplace things. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure we misplace things, but I also think there's times where that wallet was just not there, or you left that wallet somewhere else and it's turned up somewhere else in your fucking house.
Yeah, and that's like that's the thing too, is like how many viewers are in here right now?
150.
All right. So there's 150, let's just say 150 people. Mm-hmm. Right? And you guys are sitting in your computer room or you're on your couch or whatever. Like, look, it's not something different for a cabinet to.
Oh,
what was it?
at
on
least
this
one
show,
of them is masturbating.
No, on this show, about 30% of people are masturbating. That's why we watch this show.
And that's okay because masturbation is cool. Like I get that. You have to have a sweet release sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's not something you can be sitting on your couch. Let's just say you're like in your computer room, your door's closed. You don't want to deal with your kids. Your kids are watching Paw Patrol or whatever, and your cabinet door opens in your kitchen, and a plate lifts up, levitates. It sits on the table, and then it lifts back up, and it goes back in the cabinet, and the cabinet door shuts. You never were there to see it. That's how I think this stuff happens. It's happening all around us, and I think that if you get to see it, like I did, you win like a weird kind of sadistic type of lottery. Like honestly, because I lived 32 years. 32 years of my life, I never saw shit. I didn't see fucking anything. And then, well, bam, right? Like, so if it happened to me, it's happening to other people. And if you take the 150 people in here, God knows what's going on, right? Like, it's where do you look? Where do you turn? But what I won't do is tell you what it is. I won't tell you that it's Pleiadians. I won't tell you that it's it's not Zeta Reticuli. I won't tell you these things. I'll just tell you that, in my opinion, that something weird is going on. And I think the danger in this topic is when people start naming things, or they start selling you things, or they start selling you courses. Like Peter Levenda or Richard Dolan's wife selling remote viewing courses for $60 a month. It's a little dangerous to me because they're telling you that they know for sure what's going on when they don't know jack shit. They don't know nothing. You can't have a real conversation with them like you're having with me and then tell you anything that won't promote what they're selling. And that's not good, right? I mean, it's not good.
I get what you're saying. Make sure you buy some t-shirts, people.
Yeah. On that note, buy our stuff.
Yeah, what? Buy t-shirts. Buy t-shirts, guys.
Don't make much profit off that, Shane. It's just to get the name out there.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not very brand friendly. But I will say this: I'm a very big skeptic. But all three of these dudes in here, they're looking for answers. They're not here. Buy their t-shirts, not because they're telling you what to believe, but because they're trying to look for the answers that you don't know. Yeah. In a more public forum than I or other people have to do. Yeah. So, there's nothing wrong with making money, guys. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
The more money we can make is the more we do. It's as simple as that. Like if people will start going, especially our audio shows, we could really do with people going and following our audio stuff on the podcast, because that's where we'll make ad revenue, because YouTube is
I can quit the day job.
Yeah.
And
that's a dream, isn't it?
Well, that's it. I mean, we'd like to go daily and
100%.
Do different shows for different time zones, so we could go UK specific and US specific as well. There's loads of plans, but unfortunately we all have to go to work for 8 hours a day to make sure we have houses to do this shit in.
I don't do that.
I know that, Dave. But
Dave is obviously a trust fund baby. He's super rich.
Dave, I've realized being a full-time dad for a week is harder work.
Yeah, I mostly just take care of my kids. Yeah.
Well, that's a job, though. That's definitely a job. And as a strong man raising your kids, that's rare. That's pretty cool. But I will say this. Do you guys know what a Cosmos mirror is?
Yes.
I bet you do. Do you know what Kabbalah is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what CE5 is? Right. Sure.
Yes.
Okay. So when I look back at the history of ufology, I look at the 1970s contactee movement. Mm-hmm. Do you know who George Van Tassel is?
I've heard the name. I don't know why.
Heard the name, yeah.
All right. He built the Integratron. He built one of two things that exist perfectly acoustic. Mm-hmm. He also drank some Brusque iced tea and told his brother-in-law, "They killed me," and he died. And then a bunch of government vans showed up and stole all of his blueprints.
Yeah.
But George Van Tassel ran Big Rock. He did the biggest convention in the 70s. I've actually had a Freemason come and pick me up, take me to his house, and show me his printouts from the Freemason library of the flyers that he would put out. Because I love this shit, right? Like, I'm looking into it. What happened to that, right? Like, if I make $100,000 on the UFO topic, I'm going to build a 72 foot platform in my backyard. At the top of it, there will be a Cosres mirror. I will have JBL speakers playing Kabbalah chants, and I will have people doing CE5 around the Cosres mirror while lasers shoot into the sky, and at the bottom, we'll have a pork roast going in a smoker. Like, do something. None of these people they're not doing shit. They're not doing anything. They're just taking and taking and taking and taking. I don't want to do that. I want to do something for this topic. And yes, maybe, and I call it the Titan V platform system, but maybe that won't yield results. But at least I tried. At least I looked stupid. At least I did the best I could do, but what I believed in, because doing what you believe is very important. And, like, build a platform, shoot lasers into the sky, do CE5. I had a guy earlier today tell me that, I did CE5 and I saw a full spacecraft, and he showed me the video. I'm like, it was literally just a picture of the blue sky. I don't see anything. He's like, well, they controlled my mind, so you can't see it, but I can. I'm like, what?
I know someone who built a platform, an old friend of the channel. You ever heard of a guy called UFO Proof?
No.
So he's not about anymore. The last video, the last interview, I think is when we last saw him. He came on the show, and he said he knew where a base was, where these objects were flying into. This guy.
So some Phil Schneider shit. Okay.
Yeah, he did say some Phil Schneider shit, and he disappeared then.
That's not good.
He came back, but I think he had a UFO platform on the roof of his old house.
That's awesome.
Where he used to kind of like try and summon them or whatever. But yeah, I believe we spoke about this a few times on the show. When people are getting into this and they're messing with the subject, I think it can come with consequences if you're not careful.
Yeah. For sure.
Depending on what you're trying to do and what you're trying to get out of it. We spoke about that many times because we don't know what we're dealing with. We don't know if it's little green men inside ships or if it's actually something a little bit more sinister than that. We have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
No idea. So yeah, that's actually super dope. And I applaud that man. Hopefully he wasn't poisoned or murdered. Because by the way, if you did build a 72-foot platform in your backyard with a Cosmos mirror and a smoker, and you did summon UFOs, you better believe Chinooks are going to be overhead, and people are going to be dropping down, shooting at you with AR-15s. But at least live stream it, so then you'll know. I'll gladly die for human knowledge.
He summoned an orb, a black.
He summoned an orb,
a black sphere, yeah.
Dude, I had a dude one time come in my space that was doing CE5, and CE5 is no different than like talking boards, like Ouija boards and stuff like that, which the Egyptians did with dice and bones. You need more than you, honestly. You need like at least 4 people, in my opinion, to do it. But I had a dude come in my space it was him, his roommate, and like the 2 girls that were over there. He was like, "I'm doing C5 in my living room, man. There's balls of light flying through my house." I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he just went off on this. I wish I recorded it. I do unrecorded spaces so people can speak their truth without it being played back against them. But that dude went off, dude, for like 45 minutes about him being in his house. And there was just like, most people do CE5 in their backyard. They don't do it in their living room. I do not like Dr. Stephen Greer, but, people have been contacting the unknown and doing, meditation techniques for thousands of years. And sometimes you roll the dice and it lands on a 12, So is what, Dr. Stephen Greer is such a joke. Oh, God, I hate the guy. Oh, man, I don't like him at all. That was hilarious. Who made that? That? Which one of you guys made that?
Which Tiny Hands.
That, yeah. Oh, my God. You have him with the mask or without the mask. Oh, my God.
We can't figure out why we can't get him on the show.
Oh, I'll tell you why. Because I was trying to have him on my show, and he tried to charge me $2,500 to have him on for an hour, dude.
His mortgage doesn't pay itself.
Well, he tried to. He tried to charge Rogan, didn't he? He tried to charge Rogan to go on for the second time.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
And look what happened. His entire previous discussion was taken off of Spotify. Rogan took off like 115 episodes, and those are one of them because he's a loser. He's a liar. That dude is a loser. But go ahead. Sorry.
We're gonna have to bring the picture up. Are you aware of the picture?
You got to be more specific than that, Ollie.
That's cool.
That's a good lighter.
That's awesome.
We need to do lighters, boys.
You know what we need to do? I was just thinking we need to do Ouija boards. I have an idea.
Yeah,
after the
that'd be
show.
awesome. I think there's about there's something in the region of like 100 people watching on X at the minute. This is a call to just the people on X. I want you all to retweet the show because it's the button that's on the screen you're looking at. So just give the retweet button a quick.
Let me try. I can't. It'll drop me out of the show if I do it.
Yeah, no, you're good.
No, you're good.
You're doing your part.
I'd imagine.
Lee, if you can do Dave, if you could do the honors for Shane for this photo.
Oh, so left to right, Henry Diamond, then Dr. Stephen Greer, Dr. Bruce
Look at his
McAfee,
smile.
George Lamb, Robert Bigelow, Linda Moulton Howe, giving that body language to Bigelow and his arm cuddly wrapped around her. Dr. Leo
She banged
Sprinkle.
him.
Oh, definitely. Keith Thompson, Dr. John Mack, Lawrence Rockefeller, Dr. CB Scott Jones, Johnny Jones, Robert Teets, and behind the camera, Marie Bootsy Galbraith and Richard Farley. Hanging out with the Rockefellers.
Yeah, have you guys had Chris Martell on here yet?
No, we've not.
You should. I'll get him. I'll drag him up here.
Thank you, Lee.
He was one of the security guards at a Skinwalker Ranch, correct?
He was not only a security guard for Skinwalker Ranch for 6 years.
Wow.
That was
But
when they
he
were
also-
running human trials as bait and didn't tell him.
That's correct. And he also worked for Janif Lights. He worked for Area 51, and he also worked for what the DOE, the Department.
Was he a contractor through Wackenhut though? When out at Area 51, wasn't he security out there?
Yeah.
Wackenhut
He ran security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before they lost.
But he was still there.
Yeah.
But he was still there, right? Like, and I bring him into spaces all the time, and like I'm like, what more do you want from me? Like, do you want me to bring like Jesus back from the grave? Like, what more do you want than a guy who worked at all these places you talk about all the time? They don't listen to him, man. That dude is he's do you know what orichalcum is?
No.
Orichalcum is bronze mixed with copper, and that's what they say that Atlantis was ran on. He's my orichalcum standard. Like, that dude literally is the top tier. I've talked to everyone like you guys have, and he's the only person that one of the only people I've met that has never lied to me. And I said, Chris, how much of this shit is aliens and how much of it is is human technology. He's like, well, Shane, I'm under NDAs, but I will tell you this: 99% is human technology, and there is definitely something strange going on. That's the 1%. But that 1% matters. Yeah. That 1% is still a percentage that I don't understand and you don't understand. He's a hero. You guys should talk to him. He's a hero.
I would like to.
Do you lean? Where do you lean though with this Shane? Like, I know you keep yourself kind of like on the fence, like as do I with this. But
I'm a big fence sitter, dude. I'm on the fence like the fence is like this. Like,
do you spiral with this? Do you sometimes go down the nuts and bolts and think, yeah, that's what it is, or do you like sometimes go down the biblical route?
Well, I've read the Quran, I've read the Torah, I've read the Bhagavad Gita, I've read the I've read everything. I've read the I'm sorry, I'm 13 beers in. I've read the Quran, the Torah, the Bhagavad Gita. I've read the Popol Vuh. I've read everything, right? And I don't really know. I think that Hinduism is 4,000 years older than Christianity. I think that, like, do you know what Mohenjo-Daro is? Okay, cool. This is great. I'm glad that you guys don't know what that is because I'm gonna school you real quick. Not in a bad way. So Mohenjo-Daro is an ancient city similar to Sodom and Gomorrah, a place that was stricken by either Krishna or Shiva. I can't remember right now. Forgive me. My facts may not be straight. But it was a mythical city that was said to have been stricken by a god using his weapon. And the dude who wrote it down said that people had their nails falling out from their skin. Mm-hmm. They seeked rivers to seek comfort from the explosion, and a mushroom-like cloud enveloped these people. And it was told to be totally fake, totally unreal. Guess what? 1964, they find it. Guess what they find? Skeletons crumpled up, irradiated to this day. If you go to Mohenjo-Daro, they won't let you go see the skeletons because they're still so irradiated that they won't let you go there because you're going to get radiation sickness. They found these black balls, right? Like just balls of just black balls, right? Well, they found that those were clay pots that were vitrified. Vitrification means it was heated by something so much that it was just the sun itself struck them and turned them into the base form of matter.
Wow.
But then you look at the Bhagavad Gita, you look at these things and they tell you about it. They tell you that this god or this alien being floated over the city and he struck them down, and when you fire a nuke off, right, it vitrifies things. That's what, what is a nuke? The heat of the sun igniting for a brief second. So people will tell you this stuff is nonsense, and I believe in nothing, but I will tell you that it's still like there are mysteries. There are mysteries we can look at. There are things that are unknown. Thank you, Bella B, for the $5. We appreciate that. I'm not getting into the $5, but still, thank you for supporting the show.
Well, if I come out to the States, I'll buy you a beer or two.
Never mind. I am getting some of the $5. I'll buy you a beer.
Not a 9% one, you won't. Jesus.
Well, you can go to Chili's and get 8.3%. So Chili's knows what's up. But there's a lot of like mysteries. And do you guys know who Scott Walter is? Do you guys know who Timothy Hogan is?
Not sure.
Timothy Hogan rings a bell.
No, not
Timothy Hogan, the leader of the Knights Templar, the current leader of the Knights Templar, friend of mine, friend of my show. He'll tell you that the Knights Templar were there but they understood that what they were looking at was ancient lost technology. And although I may not believe in aliens or whatever, well, I don't disbelieve. I do believe in ancient lost hidden technology, 100%. Like I am all in on that. Like I'm like pushing all the chips in when it comes to that type of stuff.
As am I. Yeah, there's too much not to. There's just too much not to. I mean, not.
Would you say, Dave? Would you say, Dave, as above, so below?
Would I? No. But I know people who would. But
except for Billy Carson, who joins my spaces all the time, and I think he's a loser. But
yeah,
not a big fan.
I'm all in with ancient technology. I think that there definitely has been past civilizations, or by who I don't know either. I wouldn't make those assumptions because some of the architectural details are left behind are of different specifications than we today would need. So, yeah, man, I think there's something to that. I mean, it's obvious governments around the world have dedicated to that. I mean,
yep.
They fund a lot of money. Like if you start looking at budget items of different government entities, at least from the United States, ones that shouldn't be an archaeological anything, and yet they are, you know, who's funding these teams and why, you know,
Moody. She's Moody.
My friend story.
Thank you, Moody.
Do you? So yeah. You're like, so how do we vet these people? Like, you mentioned Billy Carlson, then you've mentioned Stephen Greer. Who works for you? That like when I say work for you, I don't mean like literally works for you, but in your head, who works? Like who do you gel with? Who do you trust?
Question.
When it comes to the big people, the big names,
they're dead. Unfortunately, you guys know who John Anthony West is?
I've heard that name before. Yeah,
he's dead. Do you know who Zahil Was is?
No.
Right?
Heard that name
like,
too.
Well, he's the leader of antiquities in Egypt, right? He also came to the United States to get his archaeological degree. And do you know who paid for that degree? The Edgar Cayce Foundation. And then he goes back to Egypt, right? And John Anthony West and Dr. Robert Schoch show up. And he's like, probably don't look under the Sphinx, like it's all good.
Yeah.
By the way, you're kicked out of Egypt. What a loser.
Hasn't what's his name? We know his gardener. What's he called?
Graham Hancock.
Hasn't Graham Hancock talked about him before?
Yeah, well, Graham Hancock's also been. Look, I don't agree with Graham on everything, but I think that Graham is very well researched. And there's a lost city of Shiva. Once again, Hindu texts, Mohenjo-daro, a myth. Guess what else was a myth? The lost city of Shiva. Guess who found it? Graham Hancock. He literally dove off a boat with a scuba gear and found the city. And then there was an earthquake, and the tides receded, and then boom, there it is. He was a part of that. He was a massive part of that. Also, Graham, though, used to talk about the demiurge and like Gnostic beliefs, and then he got more popular, and he was like, full stop on that. It's not gonna work out. But I love Graham. I think Graham. Well, I don't agree. Like, and that's the thing, though, is like I don't need to agree with you on everything to love you.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys think that, but other people don't. They think that you have to just be in this echo chamber bullshit nonsense all the time. That's the worst. It's the worst thing you can do. Is you can agree with someone 90% of the time. Say one thing that you disagree with, and then you're just like, fuck this guy. And it's just like,
sense.
It makes no sense. You have to be open to people understanding things differently than you. And you have to try your best. I struggle with it all the time. But I have to reposition myself to understand that. So I've read Fingerprints of the Gods 15 times. So
where do you think this has changed? Like I hate saying like the community, because I'm not convinced it is a community, but we
have a community.
Yeah, the difference that seems to have occurred between people now. It seems more venomous than usual.
Well, that's because like Lou Elizondo did that because people were like, "Oh man, he ran OSAP, he ran ATIP," and then you find out he didn't, and that literally started like a whole cult type of thing. Unfortunately, you know, like I don't think Lou's done a lot of bad for this, but I don't think he's done. I think he's done as much bad as he's done good. So you have to really look at it like at that, right? Like Christopher Mellon, Lou Elizondo, TTSA, Tom DeLonge. They promised me a spaceship. Like I can post a graph of it right now. Where's the spaceship at, Tom? Yeah, invest. Like where there it is. I cannot believe you had that ready. You guys are oh my god.
We live to show this.
These motherfuckers literally promised you a spaceship. They promised like yeah, there you go. There you go. Let's go ahead real quick. We got Tom DeLonge, Christopher Mellon, Lou Elizondo, Hal Puthoff, and I don't know the other two guys.
Jim Semivan and
Jim
Semivan.
And
obviously the guy. Chat will help us. There you go.
Yeah, who cares what that other dude is? You know what they all are? You know what they all are? Liars. Like where's the spaceship, dude? Like where's it at? It's nowhere. Yeah. They stole millions of dollars from people and they made promises.
Yeah.
That did not come through. And that's the problem with this community. And people will die on the cross for them when they stole money. I don't get it. I don't get it.
That's what they were there to do. Like I don't look at them necessarily as liars. I look at them as a fool, and I look at the rest of them as doing what they were supposed to do.
Well, a fool is an unknowing liar, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I would trust a liar more than I would a stupid person because stupidity is dangerous and contagious.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, that's good, Dave. I like that.
Yeah, Shane. So, have you ever seen like some of the early interviews with Tom DeLonge when he's talking about UFOs when he's in Blink? Like, he's a passionate motherfucker when it comes to that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
always has been. And you'll have heard of Secure Team 10. So so we interviewed him on here, but he had Stephen Greer on an interview. He did an exclusive interview with Stephen Greer, and he asked him about UFO Man of the Year, Tom DeLonge. I can't remember when that was awarded. Was it 2012? I think it was 2012. No, it was after 2012, wasn't it? But anyway, he asked him about UFO Man of the Year, and Greer said, yeah, you're talking about Tom DeLonge. He's been to my house. Tom's being used by these people.
Yeah. If you're very passionate about something and you're very like unhinged about something, like someone's gonna grab you and they're gonna use you as bait. They're gonna throw you out there to catch the big fish. That's what happens, unfortunately.
Someone put a very clever title on. I can't remember who did it now, but I think the title was "Groomed for Ufology," and it was an interview with Tom DeLonge.
That's good.
It's sad. It's so sad because, but you know, like this believing in UFOs and aliens or the paranormal is no different than religion. It really isn't. But we have to take it on ourselves to walk that fine line better than our past people did. Right? We have to figure out what we're doing better than they did. We can't use the past examples anymore. We have to figure out what's going on. And like I said prior, is that it's not so much about Linda Moulton Howe killing cows and draining them of their blood or whatever nonsense we want to talk about. It's about us trying to understand that something weird is going on. And then when we all come together and understand that, then we can figure out what the hell is happening, because something is definitely happening. Don't know what it is. Don't know who it is. Don't know where it's from, but it's happening for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of these people like Tom DeLonge, I guarantee you, like, I get the frustrations when it comes to TTSA because I mean I was a big TTSA fan. Didn't invest. We had a.
Thank God.
I fell out with an investor because it got like.
It's a real loose word of the term invest.
Yeah.
Invest.
But I guarantee you get Tom DeLonge alone in a room, like with us lot talking about this subject, he will gel with us.
He will.
I think you're going to get a different side to what you see with the TTSA thing. You're going to get that cool guy that just loves the wacky shit when it comes to this.
There's so many jokes there, Ollie. There's so many jokes there.
Hold, Dave. Hold off.
I still think this, this modern day sort of disclosure movement, although it's pivoted and changed. I think it's been one of the biggest counterintelligence operations, like on people that we've ever seen. Like I don't really believe a word of it. I think from the word go, it's been it's a psyop, counterintelligence, whatever you want to call it. Right? We were talking before about the toxicity within the subject. I'm convinced that was by plan. You know, there's no point in bringing names up again, but we've talked on this channel before about certain channels that I think I think were played in order to play a role in this. Sorry, you froze there. I don't know what you caught there, Shane.
It's Philip Plass on steroids. It really is. Like, the whole thing. The way they've done it is perfect.
Yeah, it seems like they got so much of the community to exchange curiosity for this fanaticism. They got them to pick sides, got them to break up, turn on each other. We're no longer curious. It's us and them, and this is mine, and this is what I'm about, and we're all clicked up together. And they just let them rabbit at each other.
They've managed to get conspiracy theories. They've managed to get conspiracy theorists to argue with each other, calling each other conspiracy theorists.
Yes, it's amazing. It really is. It's
a good job. It's like to the T. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I mean,
a lot of nonsense.
I think there's an end game to it. I keep asking everybody this that comes on the show now. Do you think there's an end game to the disclosure thing? I mean, and that doesn't mean like you can think it's going to be bullshit, but do you think whoever's behind it has an end in sight?
Probably a one world government, I would imagine. Like this is my random thought here. But you know, like 2027, right? John Ramirez said 2027 will turn into 2035. 2035 will turn into 2040. 2040 will turn into 2046. 2046 will turn into 2054. And it's going to keep going and going and going and going. I'll be dead. You'll be dead. We'll be dead. Our kids will be discussing the same things we're discussing now.
Yeah.
And we'll get nowhere. We will get nowhere. And I'm fucking tired of getting nowhere. Honestly. So I think that the game behind this is to keep it just rolling and rolling and rolling, and keep people complacent in their beliefs and keeping them fighting for things and for people they've never met or don't know. And it's
90s UFO documentary fatigue. It's like, well, I used to watch all the UFO shows and stuff like that. Then eventually you stop watching them. You go, I can't watch another hour and a half of television. There at the end of it is going to give me.
I can't do it no more. It's like I can't.
Yeah,
dude. I used to go to bed and listen to Richard Dolan and Linda, who just said that she was a priestess in Egypt. Her past life was, I guess you can't refute that, but I suppose. But she also talked to Nazis and Trentaloids nonsense. But I used to listen to these people.
Should have had better makeup
all the time. Well, Botox will do you one way. But like I used to listen to these people talk all the time, and I would just eat it up. I would just love it. And I've gotten to the point where I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't getting me anywhere. It's not getting me anywhere. It's not getting people that I respect and love anywhere. The other day I was talking to a person on Twitter. Her name is Dove, and she was talking about how great Linda Moulton Howe is. I'm like, well, she sold fake alien pictures to people for $125, and she's also sold these pictures behind a paywall on her website. She's like, how dare you? How dare you? I'm like, I'm just showing you facts. And then she blocked me and called me some like lunatic loser. I'm like, well, I actually respected this person and was trying my best to show them the truth that I've seen. And instead of just even remotely embracing it, they called me all kinds of names and just blocked me. And that's the weird part about this cult shit,
Mm.
You saw her reaction when Kurt Jamungle asked her about the area,
I was there.
The Area 51.
I had Kurt Jamungle on my show, and he tried to apologize to Linda Moulton Howe on my show. And I said, nope, no mas, mi amigo. No mas, apologies, mi amigo. No mas. No mas apology, bro, which means no more apologies, dude. Like, these people will come on shows, they will go on everything, and you're just throwing them softballs. You're just underhandedly throwing them these softballs. If you're here for disclosure, if you're here for the truth, then you should hear both sides. You should hear my side, your side, and everyone else's side. I should hear the people that love it, and you should hear the people that hate it. But they won't do that, and Linda just crumbled. She crumbled. I have so many awards. I've been doing this for 60 years or whatever the fuck she said. Nonsense. She's the worst. Like Linda Moulton Howe is. She's literally the reason why you go to the gas station, ask someone about UFOs, and they call you a lunatic. That's her fault. Like, she's the worst.
Maybe she got the biggest endorsement from Rockefeller or trust fund or payment to make sure that.
Or maybe she's just insane and making millions of dollars off of lies.
Could be.
What do you do think that some of the mutilations of the cows happened though?
Yeah, there's also human mutilations. There's a really good case in Brazil at the aquifer of human mutilation. Weird things happen to people, right? Like, but like David Paulides, Missing 411, he covers that kind of stuff. And I tried to have him on the show, and you know what he told me? To buy his book and to buy his Amazon documentary, which I had already bought. But and then he's just on here speaking a bunch of like alt-right nonsense. So who knows, I guess.
Well, we've had you going for almost an hour and a half or a few minutes short. What's the one thing you would encourage everyone listening like to open up to or to investigate or to like what's your key piece of advice for those watching the 208?
My key advice really is like people will tell you things that you agree with, and you agree with it, and you love that. You love what they're saying, man. You're eating it up. Take 15 minutes of your time to look at the other side. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to agree with that or disagree with it, but look at it and then bring it together. And then there the truth will lie between that. So if people are going to tell you that it's this or that or those or these, take the time to just research both sides. That would be my best advice. If someone tells you that they're tranquilizoids or that like Corey Good, who people loved, right, are telling you that we're fighting a war on Mars and we're using jump rooms, probably look into the fact that he has been, lost court cases where he literally said he never went to space. Look into these things. And then maybe, just maybe, by doing that and being more open to the things that are happening, you'll find what sliver of truth you can grab onto and ride to the promised land. That's all I gotta say.
what's your mission in all this, Shane? Like, I mean, you've not been in the, they say, I hate that thing, that in the field, but you've not been in the field for that long when it comes to in the community, but you've definitely made an entrance. So where's your exit?
Yeah, I'm, you know what? I'm here for me. I want to know what happened to me. And I think that a lot of people are here to find out what happened to them. Yeah. And then I came here trying to figure that out. And I found out that a lot of people weren't here with the same honest and truth that I am here for. So I'm here to figure out what happened to me. Whether that be the answers to the universe or just some iota of understanding what happened to me. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here for you. I'm here for me. And I hope that you're here for yourself, right? Like, and that doesn't mean you can't talk to other people and figure out what's going on, but you still have to have that personal topic, that understanding of that you're here for yourself. I saw something that made no sense. I saw something on the day I buried my mom 6 feet in the fucking ground that made no goddamn sense. And I came here looking for answers, and I've gotten 0% answers. And I know that other people are the same as me, and I'm just here to figure that out. Well, if I find those answers, I hope that it will give other people those answers. But that's what I'm here for. I'm here for me. I am truthfully here for me. I want to know what happened to me because it happened and it was real and it made no fucking sense. And I hope that I will find that answer before I die. Unlike many past researchers, Jim Mars, Stanton Friedman, McDonald, all these guys, right? I want to know what happened to me. And if by following my course, I find out what happened to me, maybe you'll find out what happened to you. That's it.
I'll drink to that, mate.
Yeah. And while we start to roll this out for the 240 watching, like, share, subscribe, follow UFO Shane on X. We'll have all that linked on the show. Check out our audio only podcast. Buy a cool shirt.
Buy a shirt.
Or just, anyone on X can reach out to any one of us. We're pretty responsive.
Buy 3 shirts. Buy 10 shirts.
Well, just one. It's really advertising. There's almost there's a very, very small profit margin.
That's a little shirt. We all love H.P. Lovecraft. Let's go. I like the Mothman shirt. That's pretty dope.
It's very cool. Yeah. That's one of my favorites. That's incredible.
Not so much on the white, though. I like the black version, but the white version is a little lacking. But you guys are doing good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and for everyone watching, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for the support. We love you guys. I hope you have a great
We would like to get you all on.
Oh, yeah.
The whole Skyfire team, including Keen.
Yeah.
I'll get Keen on here. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, he came on briefly, but Lee's he's a big Keemstar fan from back in the day. I
followed him for 10 years. I feel you, Lee. I feel you.
So they killed him that he couldn't get on.
We'll get him. We'll get him. Yeah. We'll get him on there. All right. Well, everyone watching, y'all have a great evening. We love you guys.
Good night. God bless. Mind the books, don't bite. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You know what to do. If you want to get as big, it's up to you. The boys.
We got to work on that image because I don't smoke. Like it's a.
Can you put me at the top, like on the alien, like just randomly, like me, like this?
Yeah, Ollie can do anything.
I would
Tiny
do
hands.
that for you, Shane.
They're phenomenal.
Dude,